started off this year with an event where we invite speakers from across the industries who have many different skill sets and experiences dealing with things like startups and entrepreneurial ventures. To talk about what worked for them, what didn't work, and essentially how they got from point A to point B. So without further ado, I'll pass over the mic to Ross, who's part of ISU, to sort of introduce the speakers and give everyone a introduction to their lives.
So first up, we have Teresa Marcroft. She's a principal consultant at Market Savvy, and she founded this herself in 2001 and has been building it ever since. She's also been the chief marketing officer for 5 different companies and has been the senior VP of marketing at ShotSpotter and also the marketing coach at J Global. So we're so excited to have her here, and please give her a warm welcome.
Oh.
Is the
Yeah. So I do need this? Yeah?
You can use the microphone.
Whatever works.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay. Okay, hi everybody. Good to be here tonight. So they let the oldest one go first. So I have been out in the working world, graduated from Santa Clara, and then I had a 30-year career in Silicon Valley marketing. So I've been doing high-tech marketing for a pretty long time, 30 years. And so having started as a Bronco, I just wanted to let you know that there's been a lot of conversation that I've had in the last couple of years with my 16 nieces and nephews who are all transitioning out of college and into their careers. So it's been really interesting to talk with them about like getting started and what I would have done differently if I knew something more than I know now, or if I had known then what I know now. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about my career in marketing, and then talk a little bit about like the 5 big takeaways that I would suggest to anybody getting out of college. And so with that, those are kind of the 2 areas that I was going to talk about. Sound good? All right. So just, if you don't mind, show of hands, like what year are you guys? Are you like freshmen? Lots of them. Sophomores? Juniors? Seniors? Okay, so mostly freshmen. That's so cool. You've got a lot of stuff in front of you. Business or engineering or something else? Business? A lot of business. How many engineers? How many something else? Okay. Okay, a lot of business. That's, okay, great. Okay, so we should have a really good conversation. Okay, when I was here at Santa Clara, I did my junior year of college in Vienna, just because it was starting to feel like kind of a small school around the end of sophomore year. So junior year in Vienna, is there a problem?
No.
Okay, that's fine. Junior year in Vienna, and that kind of gave me this real spark for international business, and it was like, oh my gosh, I have to be involved in something international. And so junior year abroad was a huge life changer for me. So I would recommend that. I'm recommending it to my daughter, who's a sophomore at UC San Diego right now. And I would recommend it to anybody who has the chance to still do it in their college career. But it really opened up a world of international business for me, and it was really a defining moment. And then after school, worked for a couple of years, got my master's in international business at Thunderbird, and then started really a 30-year career in international business. And that was cut into 2 sides. The first side was corporate marketing, where I was kind of climbing the ladder and ended up VP marketing at a network security company. And then the second half of the career was my own consulting business, where I work as an interim VP marketing for various startup companies and small businesses as they're growing, to help them figure out how to position and message and figure out their unique value proposition and all that. So I started my own consulting business. Later I started my own nonprofit. So I've been running those 2 California-based C corporations for one of them for 16 years and the other one for about 10 years. And so the 5 things that I would wish someone had told me while I was at Santa Clara. So let me just take a little guess here. If you had to guess what percentage of college graduates are actually using their degree in their job, what would you think that percentage is? Just yell out numbers. 30%? 60%? 20%? 15%? Yeah, it's like 27% according to the Washington Post. I'm sure you can find a bunch of different stats. but 27% of people are using their degree in their work. And so here's another quick trivia question. According to a Gallup poll, what would you say are the percentage of Americans who would agree with the sentence, "I hate my job"? How many people hate their job? 60%? 70%? 45% hate their job? Try 85, according to a Gallup poll. That's so not cool. And there's so much that you can do about it now, instead of ending up one of those people who's not using your major and hating your job. Because there are a ton of ways to make a living, and so there's no reason to become one of those statistics. So one of the first things that I would consider the most important thing to heed while you're still in college is it's especially important when you're deciding on your major and your career, is to get to know yourself. And as corny as that sounds, I totally get how corny that sounds, it's really important, because if you know yourself, it's not just like what you like and what you dislike, whether you want to work indoors or outdoors, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, whether you're super smart or like rocket scientist smart. It's also a matter of like understanding what attributes you have, what you're strong in compared to other people, and what you're not so strong in compared to other people. And just to talk for a minute about attributes, one of them, so I didn't even know what an attribute was when I was in college. How many people even have heard about attributes and studying attributes and understanding your attributes? No one? One person, sort of, right? Okay, so an attribute, like I'll give you an example. An example of an attribute would be like motor skills, and it's measured with finger dexterity and tweezer dexterity. And so I found out by testing my aptitudes that I was super low on both of them. So I had very little natural aptitude in either finger dexterity or tweezer dexterity, which means that I never could have become an interpreter for the deaf with a low finger dexterity. And even with a passion for serving the deaf, I never could have made that my career, because it just wouldn't work. It would be super hard for me. And with the lack of tweezer dexterity, I never could have become a surgeon or a dentist. And it's like, that's important to know when you're figuring out what you want your career to be, right? So understanding your attributes is something that I think would be extremely important, because if you work with them instead of against them, you're going to end up happier. Your job's going to end up more satisfying. It's going to be easier, and you're going to excel at it. But just because you're breathing that day, just because it comes naturally to you. So number 2 in things that I wish I had known at Santa Clara it would be a really good idea, in my personal opinion, to start big. Like work for a company that's relatively good size, because it's really tempting, I think, to want to work for a startup. But then you're a big fish in a pretty small pond, where, in my opinion, it turned out a whole lot better to work with a bigger group of people, so that you could see a whole lot more people either succeeding or failing. You can watch them, you can observe them, and learn how they succeeded or how they failed. So it's just a bigger group of people to observe. Third, find a mentor. Awesome. Find a mentor, because it's super helpful. During those 5 years that you're spending at a big company at the beginning, finding a mentor is super helpful, both in the short term and in the long term. Somebody who's interested in you and your career and can give you good advice. Fourth is add value, meaning use your strengths and your intelligence and your energy to contribute to the company, instead of just sort of plugging in every day and doing your job. It's like, really think about what value you're adding to them. And then fifth, have fun, which is not the throwaway fifth thing that it sounds like. The reason I include having fun in there is because people want to hire people that are fun to work with. They want to hire people who are having fun. They want to promote people who are having fun and enjoyable to work with, way more than they want to promote people who are good at what they're doing or experienced. So having fun is a pretty big deal, I think. So those are just my first impressions for opening remarks, and I hope they're helpful. And I'll turn it over to whoever you think is next.
Sounds great. So next we have Nita Amidi, and she has slides for us, so we're going to get that set up. It should be about 2 minutes, so feel free to socialize until then. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh no, where'd you come from? Oh my god. That's too bad.
My civil, like people told me this was like more of an engineering thing. Like, a super casual, like business thing.
It's like business casual on the thing.
Is it business
Oh wow.
I like pulled up. I saw people like
That's bad. I live right up the street.
Yeah, then I see like a bunch of the time. It's like, okay, well, somewhere along the line, one of us is right.
Yeah.
No, it's just like I came here because I thought it was a good engineering thing. Like I thought I was gonna like give people residence. They're just like but you know what? I never really did.
And the tenders are not bad.